This is the Non-Conforming Parsi, Nozzer Pardiwala, and you are listening to Bun Maska Season 3, the most successful formula to be unsuccessful. Formula number 2. When God comes knocking, simply refuse to recognize Him. There I was at a dinner in some lovely restaurant in a better suburb of Mumbai. Only starters. That's what the restaurant was named. And it's obvious what it served. It was a cousin's birthday and we were having a great time. I noticed on the table just behind me were 3 gentlemen. One I recognized instantly as Vishal Bharadwaj and the other as Robin Bhatt. The third I couldn't. The movie Satya had just released and coincidentally I had just seen it a week ago. I excused myself from the never-ending rounds of starters and moved towards the washroom. I soon noticed that Vishal Bharadwaj was with me for company. We stood side by side. I started a conversation. "You are Vishal Bharadwaj?" Rhetorically, I asked him. "Yes, you know me," animatedly he asked. I said, "Of course. The other day we saw Satya and people in the auditorium were going crazy on the song Kallu Mama, Mama, Kallu Mama. And sapne mein milti hai, kudi mujhe sapne mein milti hai." He asked me while washing his hands, "You like the music?" I replied instantaneously, "Of course." We walked out of the washroom and got back to our tables. I very enthusiastically told about my conversation with Vishal to all my relatives. He needed introduction as he was known only for his music then, not as a renowned director as he is today. I got back to my starters and forgot all about Vishal till a hand touched my shoulders and I turned around to see it was Vishal himself. He had written his phone number on a pink empty hotel counterfoil. He told me, "Call me someday," and he left. I always wanted to be a film director. I remember as far as I can. When I saw my first movie as a child, the first one I registered and remembered as a child, I asked my father questions like, "Where's the camera? And who tells these actors to do what they are doing?" I remember I always wanted to be a film director. I wanted to be one. I didn't have the courage to proclaim it to the world. I took a train to Pune one day. I walked straight into the FTII and took the prospectus in my hands. A 3 years course after graduation it read. I came back home. I told my dad I wanted to be a cinematographer. I don't know why I said that. I didn't believe in it myself. So I chose cinematography. My dad immediately pointed out that it required science graduation. I still didn't have the courage to tell him or the world that, "See, I have the aspirations to be a film director and that it's my dream and that I am fully prepared to devote 3 years after graduation to this pursuit of mine. And I'm fully prepared to go through the struggles of establishing myself in an industry which is already saturated and overflowing with talent, and that I take full responsibility of the consequences of my decision." I lied to my dad and I lied to myself. I gave up even before trying. Years after I had met Vishal Bharadwaj, the music director at the restaurant, I happened to see an episode of television series titled Gubbare and was dazed to see the credit titles which read, "Directed by Vishal Bharadwaj." I realized I had let an opportunity just go by. Sometime later, Makdi released, and rest is something the world knows. Miss an opportunity that comes so easily to you and blame your luck. Someone up there is trying hard to arrange things for you the way you want it, and you are messing it up yourself. Till date, as I speak, I regret not having contacted Vishal. If I would have met him the next day. That if still haunts me. Never ever ignore the messages sent to you by heaven. You are being guided by your guardian angels, and sometimes you are so dumb that God himself comes knocking and you fail to recognize him. To compensate for my failure and try my failed luck again, I called up on the same number years later. Thankfully, Vishal was still at the same office. I spoke to one of his assistants and tried to explain him an incident which had happened years back when Vishal was a little known great music director. But what I soon realized from the telephonic conversation was that Vishal was now a very well-known established director. I still gathered the courage and walked into his office with a bunch of tickets of Makadi of a show I had organized for my class students and a letter. My luck was by my side even then. I met Vishal in the lift of his office as he was leaving, and I tried to remind him of the same incident that we had met in a washroom and how he himself had given me his phone number. He just smiled as he walked out of the lift, and I handed him over those tickets of Makadi and the letter. He in turn listened patiently and with the same humbleness he displayed years back, accepted my letter and tickets, sat in the car and moved on. Till date, I admire his work and still feel that someday, just someday, I shall meet him again. Opportunity had come, not even disguised, and I just didn't have the eye for it. In my silent moments, I curse myself for it even today. Continue listening to the story of the Zygote in the next episode of Bun Maska Season 3. The most successful formula to be unsuccessful. Keep listening. Panic attacks are for real. It happens to best of us. These are lines from a book I just read, Get Hold of Panic. It is a personal account of a psychologist. So if you have been trying to cope with panic attacks, or if you know someone who is, this is a book you should definitely read. Get Hold of Panic by psychologist Sonal Pardiwala is available on Amazon as an ebook.